So as of today, Square Enix has announced that they will be shutting down all support and services for their Battle Royale mobile game, Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier. The game launched in November of 2021, and Square plans to shut it down on January 11th of 2023, which means the game was only around for about a year and some change. Now, before we get into the specifics, Square Enix does have a statement via their Twitter page for The First Soldier, and it reads, "Despite all our efforts to bring you regular updates with fresh and exciting content, we haven't been able to deliver the experience that we were hoping to and that you all deserve. So we have made the extremely tough decision to end service for Final Fantasy VII: The First Soldier." End of quote. They do mention that purchasing Shinra credits will be removed as of today, and any credits that you have in your account already can still be used until the game itself is shut down. Now, this news is a little bit shocking to me. I was under the impression that FF7: The First Soldier was actually doing pretty well because, if I'm not mistaken, it's gotten about 4 seasons worth of content over this past year or so. So that led me to believe, like, oh, maybe people are actually playing this game. But based on that statement and based on some of the comments people have left on Twitter, it seems like there wasn't really all that many people playing. And I think that leads to a number of different reasons as to why it's being shut down. But one of the biggest ones is obviously Square Enix is going through a really weird phase right now where they don't know what they're doing. Their president is focusing on some really weird things like NFTs and stuff that just seems like a waste of time and resources. And what that quote translates to me is that this game wasn't making enough money, so Square decided to shut it down, as they usually do, which is really unfortunate. I also think one of the things that hurt this game was the fact that it was mobile only. For me personally, I love Final Fantasy VII, but I'm not really into Battle Royale, so I did download it on my iPad just to mess around with it, but trying to play a complicated Battle Royale game on a mobile device just isn't really all that fun or intuitive. And I know a lot of the people that got dedicated to this game ended up using controllers, which I believe you could plug in via Bluetooth. I never made it far enough in that stage to actually dedicate time to actually play the game with a controller, because again, I'm not really into BRs as much as I love Final Fantasy VII. It just wasn't really for me. And also the fact that this game was mobile only, I think really hurt it. Now look, mobile is a very huge market. We're talking about potentially billions of customers on a given basis every single day. That's how large it is. But I think if you're someone who's going to play a BR, especially if you're really into Final Fantasy, you're probably not going to want to play it on a mobile device. You're going to want to have the opportunity to play it on a PC or on a console. I think that's where a lot of the audience is for a game like this. And I think if Square had actually made the effort to port that game to other consoles, it probably would have done a little bit better. Now, the complicated thing here is that this game was not being developed in-house by Square. It was being developed by another developer, A-Team Entertainment, who was a strictly mobile developer. So if they wanted to port this game to something like PC or console, that would have required Square to then find a port house who would have to take the game and port it to those consoles, which means more money would have to be spent on that development period. So this is really unfortunate for a lot of fans. Even though I'm not much for BRs, there were a lot of people in the comments who played the crap out of this game. I saw one comment in particular of someone who spent upwards of $1,000 on this game, which is baffling to me. I couldn't imagine spending $100 on in-game stuff for a video game. So the idea of doing 1,000 is just bananas. So RIP to that person's bank account, but it looks like it might actually get a little bit of a reprieve once this game is actually done. Now, this news in regards to First Soldier also does have me quite concerned for a game like Ever Crisis, which we have not heard any new information in regards to that game since it was first announced. That was when we got the biggest info dump on that game. We did get that second trailer over the summer, but since then, we haven't heard a damn thing about this game. And it's supposed to have a closed beta this year, and if I'm not mistaken, I think the first episode was also supposed to release this year as well, but Square Enix has been completely mum on that game. I was fully expecting to get some sort of update at TGS this year, but we got nothing. Now, this game is being developed by a different mobile developer. I believe it's Applybot or Applybot or Applebot, depending on your level of literacy. So they are the ones that are going to be handling the development for the entire FF7 Ever Crisis compilation, which does leave me a little bit concerned that it is mobile only as of right now, because if this game comes out and it's episodic and we still don't know how much each episode is going to cost, but if they get halfway through releasing Ever Crisis and it doesn't perform well, Square Enix is not going to be afraid to just shut this whole damn thing down. So the chances of us getting the entire compilation of Ever Crisis is a little bit in limbo right now. Also, Square, you have to do with Ever Crisis what you didn't do with the first Soldier, and you really do have to put in the extra effort to port this thing to consoles and PC. This is a really big thing that people have been asking for. They wanted a faithful remake of the OG Final Fantasy VII, including the compilation stuff, and that's what Ever Crisis is. So really believe that most of your audience, the main people, are going to be on PC and console. Downloading a game like this episodically through a phone or, you know, a tablet doesn't really seem or feel like the proper way to play something like this. It feels like this is something that should be on a much bigger scale. So I'm really hoping that maybe the delay in any updates means that Square is reconsidering the release strategy for this game. And I really hope, and I'm crossing my fingers here, that this will lead to a console and PC port for Ever Crisis. It just sounds like the right way to release something like this. You can release it as, you know, downloadable episodes on those platforms for maybe $10 an episode, I don't know. Or maybe after everything is said and done and all of the episodes have been released, you can release an entire compilation collection on console and on PC where you can just download the entire compilation, all the different episodes in one go. That to me sounds like the right way to do things. But I am Curious Corduroy. That is pretty much the video. Were you somebody who played the first Soldier? Did you invest a lot of time and money into it? I would really love to hear your thoughts in the comments down below. A lot of people on Twitter were reasonably upset that the game was being shut down because they put so much time and money into it, and it was something that they just genuinely enjoyed. And what are your thoughts so far on Ever Crisis? What do you think is going on with that game? It just kind of seems to be in limbo right now. Who knows if we're still going to get that closed beta test this year. I will see you guys in the next video. Please remember to always be excellent to one another.